Welcome to the Baseball Insiders. I am Adam Weinrib, joined as always by FanSided's MLB insider Robert Murray, who you probably knew before today, but if you didn't, you might have known him for the first time for breaking the Jose Quintana to the Brewers news. A fit, Robert, that you've spoken about on this podcast plenty. So if you are here to learn more about the circumstances that landed Jose Quintana with the Brew Crew, you have come to the right place. We're going to be talking about that right up top, as well as updates on plenty of spring training position battles. Sean Murphy's injury has certainly opened a door for someone who we've also discussed on the Prospect Show. If you watched last week, Robert Murray, here we are. Welcome to the show. Hope you are doing well, and I know you are because you got one today.
I did get one. Well, hello, Adam Weinrib. It's good to be here with you always. I know we'll be breaking down the Quintana signing here in a little bit, but let me just say this. Whenever I'm pushing as aggressively as I did for a team to sign a certain player, odds are I know that there's something in the works behind the scenes. And finally, it ended up happening. I'm very anxious to break that one all down here with you in a little bit, but I know we've got other stuff to talk about as well. But good to be here with you. How you doing, Adam? Good to see you.
I am doing well. We talked a little bit earlier about how everybody loves when I read the speech up top. So everyone, please enjoy the speech up top. Monday, Wednesday, typically Friday, this week, Thursday. Set your notifications because we might move that Thursday. I'm going down to Florida for spring training. So I'll be putting some fun video content on the feed all weekend long into next week. So I hope everybody enjoys that. But the live show, Monday, Prospect Show tomorrow, Wednesday, Robert and I, Thursday, Robert and I. You can set your watch to it if you have a weird watch that goes off 4 times per week when YouTube shows are happening. Also, join us in the Discord at either the Rumor Mill tier or the All-Star tier. In the Rumor Mill tier, every Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern time, you get a half-hour Q&A with Robert, and then it feeds this week right into a show. So do the Q&A, then come to the show. We'll see you there. Also, want you to subscribe. If you aren't subscribed to the Moonshot, that is our weekly baseball email newsletter where the FanSided MLB team, including Robert Murray, break down all the biggest stories of the big leagues with humor, insight, behind-the-scenes info. You can also find the Moonshot on the Baseball Insiders feed on fansided.com/baseball-insiders. Robert's latest rumors and notes, humor and insight from yours truly, and the best of baseball and pop culture, crossing over from the FanSided MLB staff writers. So check it out. We highly recommend you join the Discord, and Robert's going to be in that channel every Thursday answering questions. So for everybody like, what do I get in the Discord? Plenty of time to interact with the both of us between shows, but more specifically, show up there Thursday. Robert will be there by appointment.
No, that I will. And it's very fun being in there, answering everyone's questions and diving deep into certain things. So I could not recommend more joining the Discord. It is the most well, besides the podcast here, it's a very effective way to get insider information that nobody else in the fandom community or fan community, I don't know which is the proper phrasing for that, can get. So could not recommend more doing that. And yeah, we've also got some good stuff today. I'm anxious to get into this one. This is a fun show.
Let's roll because, everybody, if you didn't realize by now that when Robert is begging teams to execute on ideas and do stuff and maybe finish certain pursuits, he's probably dangling that carrot for a good reason. And we've harped on this point. Hey, Nestor Cortez, nice addition by the Brewers, but they're losing depth by the day. Even Nestor at the end of last year was someone who had to pitch through an elbow injury to even make it to the playoffs and Fall Classic. And some Yankee fans are left wishing he hadn't done that, but that's beside the point. But either way, who could the Brewers realistically have counted on beyond Freddie Peralta, Tobias Myers, and maybe Nestor? There's a lot of uncertainty at the back end. They go out and add pretty much the most sure thing you can in the form of Jose Quintana, who is a proven playoff performer, one of the Mets' best starters when they needed him last year. You know exactly what you're getting, and that's why you've been banging the drum here for so long.
Yeah, the Brewers know exactly what they're getting here. And Quintana, when he was with the Chicago Cubs, the Cubs would always have Quintana lined up to face the Brewers because he owned them that much. And it was the same way when he was with the Pirates. Like, he would always do well against the Brewers there. And even last year when the Mets faced the Brewers in an elimination game in Milwaukee, Quintana pitched 6 shutout innings. And he's a very effective veteran pitcher. He's crafty. He's a great locker room leader. And he provides depth to that Brewers rotation, which they have as you mentioned, they got some sure things there, especially with Freddie Peralta as their opening day starter. But they also have a bunch of young guys too. And Jacob Mizorowski is going to debut at some point this year. But if history repeats itself, he'll probably end up debuting as a reliever just so they can ease him in and then have him go into a full-time starting role in 2026. So this signing made all the sense in the world. It was a pretty difficult negotiation overall. The sides were pretty far apart, even in recent days and previous weeks, because this has been something that they've discussed for quite a while now. And they finally ended up reaching some headway here recently. Deal got done early this afternoon, and now Quintana is a Milwaukee Brewer. And we've been begging the Brewers to make a free agent splash. This was a small one, but for the value that they're ended up getting Quintana for, this was a no-brainer move.
Yeah, and the questions in the comments asking how much the Quintana deal was. Do we have some form of breakdown? It's a minor splash. It's a veteran named. Do we know how much he signed for?
I am like 95% sure I know what he signed for, but I cannot get it confirmed. And until I get it confirmed, I'm not going to say it. But
yes,
yeah, I think this was a very strong deal for the Brewers. I'll say that much. And for the dollar that they're getting him for the player that he is, I know there's some teams that said they're not fans of the metrics when it comes to Quintana. I think that's kind of BS. He's a proven veteran pitcher. He can pitch in big games. He's got postseason experience. To me, he's everything that you want in your locker room or in your rotation. And I thought it was a really smart move by the Brewers. And it took a while for it to get done, but it finally got done. And now Quintana is in Milwaukee. Well, he's going to be in Phoenix. In Maryvale specifically, because that's where Brewers hold spring training. If he showed up to Milwaukee right now, it'd be kind of an issue.
Huge mistake. Yeah, what an all-time gaffe. That might be the issue. He was like, I'll sign with the Brewers, but I am not going to Milwaukee in March. And they were like, no, Arizona. That's where we train. He was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'll do that. Yeah, we will. If we can get the financials confirmed, we'll hit everybody with it. We appreciate the question, of course, but either way, hard to make a better, more impactful March 3rd signing than Jose Quintana. And hey, hard to have a more impactful early March injury than Sean Murphy of the Atlanta Braves, who is someone who is obviously highly regarded for good reason. All-star pedigree. There are not many catchers who blend, power and defensive acumen like Murphy, but the 2024 season, when he was available, was a blight on his resume for sure. Of all the Braves Foundation deals, he is locked down through 2028 with a team option for 2029. This is one you maybe were starting to worry about after hitting 190 last year with very little power. Moderate power, but the batting average can't be in the 190s. The OPS plus can't be 76. So Drake Baldwin making noise at Braves camp already. You got Braves fans wondering and asking on the Prospect Show live stream, hey, what's the ceiling here? Because I don't think they're ever going to use Baldwin as a backup catcher. Like, there's too much there for them to pigeonhole him. It's the problem the Dodgers face with Diego Cartaya and now with Dalton Rushing and seemingly over and over again. If he's not going to be the starter, where does he go? Now Murphy's going to be out for a solid chunk of time. The door is firmly open for Drake Baldwin to take that opening day role. What are you thinking about the future of the catching position in Atlanta, or at least the immediate future in the wake of Murphy's injury?
Yeah, the Murphy injury hurts the Braves. There's no way of sugarcoating that. He is their long-term catcher. He is their guy behind the plate, and missing him for any length of time is a huge blow. And internally now, they are preparing to have Drake Baldwin be the guy for opening day and however long after that. And they're not going to rush Murphy back by any means because, fractured ribs or whatever it is with his ribs, that's not a good injury, but especially for a catcher and the beating they take behind the plate. I did think a guy like Yasmani Grandal made a ton of sense for Atlanta. I don't necessarily know if that's likely or like a possibility here. I do know, however, that Grandal's market continues to be pretty quiet. So it's all just we're just waiting here now for Grandal to pick a team. And it's kind of surprising that his market really hasn't picked up at this point. I thought there was at one point earlier this offseason, I thought he was about to come off the board. And I know there's other teams who thought the same thing as well, but still lingers there. I don't necessarily think, unless something changes here, that he's going to end up going to Atlanta. But also, if you look at Drake Baldwin too, and I thought the guys over at Cespedes Family Barbecue made a really good point. He has really done well against AAA pitching, and he's 24 years old. And at some point, the Braves had to make room for him. So it's kind of now or never when it comes to a guy like Drake Baldwin here.
Yeah, and I see the comments saying they took a risk letting d'Arnaud walk. I mean, technically true, but at the same time, how much are you going to crowd that catcher position? How much of your finances are you going to commit to both Murphy and d'Arnaud somewhat long term with Baldwin waiting in the wings? I think it's certainly not a good thing that Murphy is going to miss the start of the season, but they have a cost controlled young backup plan who many foresee as a star. They don't have to run d'Arnaud out there and continue to block Baldwin. In that, respect, it's pretty good to have a guy like Drake Baldwin willing to step in. Not fantastic by any means, but for Braves fans wondering, hey, I'm watching this guy every day. How is he ever going to crack the lineup? Well, here you go. And now hopefully he maybe takes it and runs with it, because the sturdiness of Murphy will always be valued, and you don't want to be paying a backup the money that they're paying Sean Murphy. So that'll eventually lead to an interesting question. But hey, maybe Baldwin just takes the bull by the horns here.
No, he absolutely could. I mean, he's gonna have a chance to do it. It's gonna be a brief stint in doing so, because Murphy is their unquestioned guy. He's going to be their guy long term there. But if Baldwin can end up taking the bull by the horns here and really show that he can be the guy, he can easily end up stepping into the Travis d'Arnaud role. I mean, obviously younger, like d'Arnaud, like the big thing with him was leadership, especially in that clubhouse. But there's a real opportunity here for Baldwin to go out and do it. And if it doesn't work out, then maybe a guy like Rendell becomes more of a realistic option. I don't know. But I mean, I understand why you think it was a risk for the Braves to let go of d'Arnaud, but at some point they had to let Baldwin have a chance here. And also d'Arnaud, I know he's going to a place now where he's got Logan O'Hoppe there as the catcher, but that was a really good fit for a guy like d'Arnaud, and I think he would got more money there as well than he would have in Atlanta.
Yeah, ultimately, pretty good situation for both teams, and I'm excited to see what Baldwin does. Tune in tomorrow's prospect show, where we'll undoubtedly be talking about that open door. Zach G, the Yankees' back end of the lineup concerns you against lefties. Why? Because they're terrible? Oh, that's interesting. I appreciate we're going to be talking about position battles, and obviously everyone is concerned about the fact that the Yankees have not, upgraded that third base spot. But at the very least, everyone who's watching that position battle at third base for the Yankees, if you were worried they were going to give DJ LeMahieu a, quote, legitimate chance to win the job, and hey, maybe he was going to go ahead and grab it, well, he got injured after 2 at-bats this spring. Maybe in after 1. If you watch the first one, you were like, is that guy injured? And then 1 more at-bat, he goes down. Now it's Oswaldo Cabrera versus Oswald Peraza. Sort of a easy platoon to make. Less of a battle, more of an inevitability. No more LeMahieu in the mix. So that's not a battle I'm necessarily watching at this point. I wanted your thoughts on Jackson Jobe at Tigers camp this weekend, because hey, we had our eyes focused on Drake Baldwin. That may have sorted itself out. Jobe, depending on what the Tigers do with their rotation coming out of camp, I don't see any way in which he did not steal an opening day rotation spot with the Tigers yesterday. Feel like he has to be cemented as a favorite at this point. They made it through last October, through multiple rounds of the postseason, with Tarek Skubal and 9 relievers combining to absorb the remainder of their innings, including Jobe. It was remarkably unorthodox. But Skubal, Flaherty, notable name, 2, people you can trust. Alex Cobb, whenever he does come back. They've got some veterans, but Jobe is the highest upside play of the remaining options. And now I feel like unleash him as a starter. No need to dance around this anymore. And he couldn't be proving himself more in the early going.
Oh, totally. And he's absolutely looked the part of a future all-star or a future just star in general. And Jobe is a player, obviously, that the Tigers have long been high on. And they have a really good foundation of young players that are going to end up that have already debuted or are going to debut. And Jobe is a guy who we've seen bits and pieces of him, but this year is going to be really when he ends up making his first full season of impact here. And we saw it the other day, pitched 3 innings, was touching 100 miles an hour. He had a very, very, very good sweeper. Overall, I could not be more encouraged by what I've seen from a guy like Jackson Jobe. And I mean, you may not have these two long-term here, but if you have a guy like Tariq Skubal and Jackson Jobe, if Jobe reaches his potential, I mean, we're talking about a really good 1-2 punch there. So I'm very optimistic about the Tigers. I know our lovely editor and friend Mark Powell is going to love us talking about that, but I think you're right. I think he's cementing himself as a real strong option to be in that rotation for sure.
The top of the 2021 draft just goes so hard in the paint. Like Jobe, Meyer, Kauser, 3, 4, 5, Lawler, 6. I mean, Henry Davis and Jack Leiter 1, 2 are the outliers right now. But like the comments are saying, did Davis or did he not touch up Jobe this weekend? I believe he did. I'm still a Jack Leiter believer. I mean, that's one of the, even if Davis doesn't turn out the way that they hope, that seems like one of the best top 6s in the draft you could possibly hope for 3.5 years later.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And like, I mean, that's about as good as it gets right there. I know, and Henry Davis, that might be the only thing he really owns at this point, because he's been a pretty big bust as a number 1 overall pick. But I mean, that entire draft class, especially at the top there, that's as good as it gets for sure.
Yeah, it does go deeper. I mean, Sal, 15 pounds of muscle, Freelick at 15, Andrew Painter at 13.
25.
25?
Yeah.
Oh. In my world, he already dropped 10 of the pounds of muscle, circling back for a public sub.
I'm sorry. I had to call you out after you had the fake report the other day about the 3 or 4 hour drive.
Yeah, no, I mean, yay, got to keep me honest. That's what the podcast's for. I guess I wasn't expecting that much muscle. But yeah, big man Sal, Andrew Painter, Matt McClain, 17. I'm a big fan of that draft. Jackson Merrill at 27. That guy sucks. So pretty bad draft. All top to bottom.
Yeah, that's I can't wait for Drew's comment.
Yeah, weak group at the bottom of the first round, of course, highlighted by Jackson Merrill. But other than that, bunch of standouts. Hey, the number 1 team in Major League Baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers, can't get enough of them. They do have some adjustments that they'd like to see take place before the regular season. A lot of people coming, like Roki Sasaki coming from overseas. He will be debuting shortly in back of Yamamoto tomorrow night, I believe. Their bench is a little bit muddled at this point. They've got Chris Taylor, who they sort of have to stick by. They've got Kike, they've got Miguel Rojas, and they are hoping that Hyeseong Kim can hit enough to justify his defense, presumably in a starting role. That looked like maybe a tough ask early in camp, and some adjustments must be made, but he did crack his first home run of the spring. He's on the board. He's finally breaking through for the Dodgers a little bit. I am curious about your thoughts on what you're seeing at Dodgers camp. If you would just roll with Kim on opening day versus the more established options with probably a lower defensive ceiling or consistency offensively.
Yeah, I would say as far as the Dodgers go here, I mean, they don't have to play him as like an everyday guy by any means. He's going to end up being, I mean, you look at it, you have Kim, you have Taylor, you have Kike Hernandez, you got Miguel Rojas, and you got a bunch of these different guys here. So it's like, I mean, you can be flexible with, you can try to maximize matchups by any means here. But they like what they've seen from Kim so far. And I mean, overall, I mean, the fact that they were able to sign him and you add him to that just talented roster overall is just an embarrassment of riches at this point. And getting Kike Hernandez back, that was not a sign of like what they think of Kim. That was just an opportunity to add a player who is obviously like valued tremendously, his leadership there. Even Andrew Friedman said that he's never seen a player like step up in a leadership role quite like what Kike Hernandez has done in LA. So they're going to be able to maximize matchups. It's going to take some selfless egos for sure, because guys are not going to be able to play every day, but they got a really good thing going there. And I think Kim is going to get plenty of playing time. It just might not be like the 162 games like some of these guys, like very few, but he's going to get a lot of playing time, I think.
I would agree. We might be getting into crazy hours of spring training. The comment section is just flooded with a hypothetical top of the White Sox lineup featuring 5 top prospects. So that's how you know we're going slightly off the rails. Also, to answer Drew's question earlier, Humble Sea Brewing, I just had it in San Francisco. It was delicious. Pacifica Beach location. I believe they're from Santa Cruz. Everybody should try their beer. Good beer. As long as you're of legal drinking age. If not, never try their beer until you're of legal drinking age. We wanted to talk too about a surprise a waiver claim that I was hoping to talk about destinations today maybe, but Then the Pirates go ahead and claim Justin Lawrence today. I don't know why the Rockies' former co-closer was on waivers in the first place. I can just add this to the list of what exactly are the Rockies doing. But I think the Pirates claiming him and adding him to the bullpen mix may have opened your eyes a little bit. Again, not often that you're sort of able to pick up someone with that closing experience on March 3rd just on a waiver claim.
This was a really surprising one. And before the news broke that he was placed on waivers, I had a team call me and they asked what I knew about Justin Lawrence. And I'm like, why? And he said, he just got placed on waivers and we have no idea why the Rockies did this. And I was like, wait, what? But the Rockies did place Lawrence on waivers. He was claimed today by the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I still have no good idea why Lawrence was let go for nothing. And to provide some insight on this, Lawrence has looked very good this spring. He's up, I think his velocity is up around 2 miles an hour over where it was last year. And funny enough, the Pirates were actually trying to trade for Lawrence earlier this offseason. And the Rockies in Pittsburgh were not able to agree to a deal. And all of a sudden, Lawrence was placed on the waivers, and the Pirates picked him up for nothing. So the Pirates got a player that they really like in Lawrence. He's got late inning experience there. They really like what they saw from him, and the fact that they just got him from nothing. That's a pretty good steal. That's a good move by the Pirates. Really good move.
Yeah, for Pirates fans who've been angling for moves all offseason and trying to do the mental gymnastics to justify Tommy Pham as the big outfield addition, I don't know if you would classify Justin Lawrence as the main move in an offseason, but it's certainly a nice move and a nice late steal.
Yeah, oh, it absolutely is. Like, there's no risk there whatsoever. He's got like closing experience. He's got to me, it makes all the sense in the world. And the fact that he got let go or was placed on waivers and the Pirates just claimed him for nothing, I don't get it. I genuinely do not get it. It's just very strange. It's as one person told me, malpractice. That's like the exact quote. Malpractice.
Malpractice by the Rockies? No, that's check the tape. Check and make sure that that's the quote that you received.
Yeah, no, that's good job. Is that it for Ben? Ask Baron. I don't know. We'll see, but my guess is probably yeah. But we'll see. He's always trying to lurk and see if there's some late values, and especially like the Brewers didn't think they were going to be able to get Quintana for the dollar they got him for. So, and there's still some other guys that are still out there, like Verdugo, who's a player who the Pirates have had interest in this offseason. So maybe, but like, just don't get your hopes up. But you never know when it comes to these late offseason moves.
If this is the end, though, not a bad little bow to put on it and get the narrative swinging in your direction as camp marches on. Anything in your notebook that you're keeping an eye on as we head into the rest of the week? I know Quintana was in there for a while. We were finally able to get it out of the notebook, but has anything replaced it?
No, nothing has necessarily replaced it. I do know that the Reds, I mean, they're still like evaluating some different pitching options, whether it's NRI or maybe it could end up being a starting pitching deal. Is Preller up to something? I don't necessarily know at this point. I'm getting some kind of weird silence from there, so we'll see. Let's see, what else do we got here? No, honestly, like nothing really too much in the notebook for us right now. It's kind of like we're seeing exactly what's out there. We'll see if exactly or who exactly comes off the board here. I did not have Quintana to the Brewers happening today. And all of a sudden I got a call and I'm just like, it happened. And so things can happen out of the blue even when you're not expecting them. So we'll see. But the one thing I can confidently say, though, is you should join the Discord because I will tease stuff in there. I will answer your questions. I will do all sorts of different stuff. And we will have that Q&A on Thursday, I want to say it is. So, like, I'm telling you, join there. You will not regret it. You will have the time of your life. Good community, except for Baron. And, yeah, no, it's good stuff. You should join.
I'm going to just also say, nothing in the notebook. You never know when things are going to change. MLB Deadline News had a good tweet. I think end of last week, it got shared with me in a couple of group chats. And I was like, that guy's one of our, best commenters. But also David Robertson coming off, one of the best years of his career, 99 Ks, just no movement in that market, not on a team, March 3rd. And at his age is a guy who needs a spring training to build up. I'm starting to wonder if David Robertson is a mid-season addition for somebody at this point. I mean, I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around A, why he's unsigned, but B, how he could possibly get ready for opening day at this point.
Yeah, and like that's something that I think these players got to really be mindful of, or even the teams too, I should say, is we've seen players sign late into spring training and they're just not the exact same to start the season. We saw it last year with Blake Snell, where he really struggled to start the year with the Giants, got placed in the injured list, and then in the second half of the year that he was just dominant as heck. So it takes time for these guys to get ready, and especially for pitchers too. So, like you got to realize that the longer you wait into spring training, like teams are not going to budge off of their dollar values and you're just going to get squeezed. So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is no inside info at all, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these teams or some of these players ended up coming off the board sooner rather than later, because they're going to want to get some time in camp and take live BP or throw whatever. So we'll see. But yeah, the fact that he's still available along with some of these other guys too, like Kyle Gibson, it's really surprising.
Yeah, and Kyle Gibson at least is someone who I could envision just rolling out of bed and throwing 170 innings this year. But Robertson, I feel like, is a little bit more of a handle with care case. And for him to still be available at this point makes me question what you're going to get in April unless you really slow play it. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. There's some familiar names still on the board, the aforementioned. Maybe I talked about him in Yankees Yard, not today actually, but Jose Iglesias. Like, there are some familiar faces after Quintana who we're still waiting on. So we hope you stay tuned. We hope you join the Discord. All-Stars get priority in this chat. Bring your questions to us. We also have fun in the All-Star channel. But come to us on and join the rumor mill. You get private a 30-minute Q&A with Robert. That's going to lead comfortably Thursday directly into this show. So we'll see you there, and then we'll see you here. Robert Murray, another successful show, another successful offseason cap of the Milwaukee Brewers with exactly one major league signing, I feel like.
Yeah, brutal. It's been a very bad winter for Milwaukee overall, but they got Quintana, a guy that they really wanted for a pretty favorable contract for them. So that was a good job by Milwaukee. But
at least Sal Frelick put on 35 pounds, so there is that.
Boy, he's fake news. Weinrib strikes again.
What? I got it wrong again? No.
I know that was on purpose, but I had to call you out, you bozo. No, I'm just kidding. We love Adam Weinrib on this podcast. He's the best. No updates on Stone Garrett for you, Connor. Mm-hmm. So that's I got that for you. But we shall see everyone back here on Wednesday. Cooper just snored behind me. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. But pleasure being here with you guys. Adam, appreciate you. Everyone in the comments, appreciate you. Joanne, our lovely producer, we appreciate you. Go Birds. And see you on Wednesday, Adam.
See you on Wednesday. See everybody back here tomorrow for the Prospect Show. And early comments saying Adam Weinrib spring training meet and greet. I mean, if you want to, reach out. I'll be around a couple of camps, and I'm not saying them on the podcast, but there will be content on the channel. If you're in Florida, if you're a grapefruit leaguer, let me know. Maybe we'll hang out. Until the next show, which is again Prospects tomorrow, main feed Wednesday, main feed Thursday. We will catch you here. Turn on your notifications, subscribe. We'd love to see you here and in the Discord. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.